Hello YouTube, Old Rusty here again. We're going to attempt terrible tutorial number 4. For the 4th time, things just keep happening. Power loss, cats, Shroomlights. Let's go over this. So, my previous farms utilized gas blasters and piston walls in order to collect Shroomlights. This one utilizes TNT, spaced up in the sky, to drop it and explode. And it all pushes it one way. Instead of doing block by block here, let's just review the primary sections. And then I will answer any questions. I have a world download as well as a Structura file available, provided compliments of several friends on Discord. So the basic Netherrack regeneration system is the one in the previous 2 versions, which is originally by Guy, a dispenser with bone meal facing the Nylium, with an alternative piece of Nylium down one with a glass block to protect it, and an observer to detect that any change in that Nylium to Netherrack will send a redstone signal through this solid block to this dropper containing 1 item that will loop around, activate this detector, this redstone comparator, and then trigger 1 dispensement of bone meal to regenerate. After that, it is your typical comparator clock feeding into a dispenser filled with bone meal. You place the mushroom right here. As it grows, that redstone strength from the dispenser bone meal in it will be detected, picked up by the comparator, amplified by the repeater to run into the minecart dispenser, where it will loop around, hit the cactus, and get recycled back. But more importantly, right here, it will trigger this detector rail. Where the farm is different from previous versions is that they're all facing the same way. I've had to go and change up a little bit here. What you're going to do is exactly 2 blocks. So this is layer 1. You want that so you can plant. You want layers 2 and 3, nothing. Just put glass right here to mark it out. And then starting on layer 4 up through layer 13, so 10 a high total, you are going to just build this pattern repeatedly. Sticky pistons to an observer, right? Sticky piston, redstone lamp, observer, piston walls, and then these back here are sticky pistons in the back, and then an observer facing the piston. On these both sides they're mirrored on both sides here, and right in the center you have a sticky piston to push this block forward, because this is where the center stem is, so we want to harvest the lights right here. And then being fed into it by 2 observers to a redstone lamp. And this will cause this to fire out. All of these will fire and cycle through. When you build all of that, the end product is going to look like this. You utilize redstone blocks on sticky pistons in order to continuously power the side modules. These pistons right here will retract. No wart blocks will grow there, so then the double piston extenders can fire. At the same time they retract, these sticky pistons are going to pull out whatever block is right here, come pull over here 1 tick later, because the observer introduces that delay, will then push this forward. So most of the time, the vast majority of the 7 spots will be freed up. Wherever you have 3 line up here, you may have a wart block be stuck in this position until the next cycling. That's fine, because the tree is going to go anywhere between 4 and 22 high. These are going to clear out pretty regularly, and we're not cycling the farm twice, which would really slow down rates by doing so. So this frees up the vast majority of spots where Shroomlights could spawn, while at the same time we're not sacrificing time. To show you the redstone signal being sent around from the detector rail, we have 2. One, we go forward and then have it feeding into 2 pistons right here, 2 repeaters on full delay right here. From there, we're also going to feed off onto the side and have another repeater here going into a solid block that we are going to ladder all the way up. You're just going to make it over here, And then you're going to need to run your redstone both to this one so that you fire all these at once with a redstone block. And then also extend it out where I've done a bridge running over to the other two so that these, whenever this fires, these redstones will kick off, these will expand, and then it will reset at the same time it fires all these. You want to have the same timing for this whole signal from going here as you do over here. So since I'm having to introduce 2 1-tick repeaters in line here, set this one to a 2 delay. And it will fire fine the entire time. You're going to also feed out at the bottom. You're going to feed out your stem wall over here. We're going to utilize a observer, reading another observer, to a piston to drive them up. On top of your piston wall right there, you're going to want to put down some packed dice. For the packed dice, go out 4 this way and 3 this way, and you're going to hit the maximum flow for water. Let it fall into a trough 1 block where you have another water source feeding everything into your hopper that is going to collect as it grows. The rest of this is optional. This is to recycle wart blocks for bone meal through a series of item filters to get extra bone meal out from those wart blocks, and the rest is just going to get collected. You're going to get stems and shroomlights. This is all straightforward. The only real thing that you're worried about coming from this post right here, you want to drop your TNT so it's in line on this vertical axis, which means you need to come over to this spot is where your dispensers are going to be. And this is exactly 22 blocks up from this spot. You're going to put in 22 blocks of filler, and then on that 23rd spot, drop a dispenser. And put another dispenser exactly 2 above it. What you're also going to want to do is have powdered snow, 2 layers of it right there. So the TNT is going to get spat out, fall, hit this powdered snow, hit the powdered snow. It's going to slow it down so that when it drops down here, you're going to have it explode about here and here, which is going to be enough. I'm sorry, here and here. They're going to explode where those solid blocks are, which is going to be enough to take out this entire tree wall. And from there, it's all just going to fall in. You're also going to harvest all these stems coming up as they build up. And most of the time, they're going to fly into the water. And if they don't, who cares? We're not here for the stems. They're useful, but we're not here for them. And that is about it. And the only way I'm triggering this way up here, once you get your dispensers in place, on one of the sides where you're going to trigger this, add another repeater, and then elevator it up. And then all you want to do is have a repeater to make sure you have enough signal strength going into a copper bulb with the comparator, feeding another copper bulb, feeding another comparator, and that is what's going to trigger your dispensers. And these 2 copper bulbs means that you will fire off your TNT once every 4 times that you grow it. It will drop down, explode, and then just spread out. I do have a world download and a structure of file available. I'm not going to do a absolute repeat by repeat of tutorial of every one of these blocks. You're going to repeat the same basic pattern down there, build up that 10 times total, and then whenever you're running your redstone, you want to make sure that you have this pattern of redstone going on every other level, starting at 1 and then up at, then again at 3, 5, 7, and 9 for 5 total. And this is going to trigger all your system. What you don't want to do is have the gap running in here, because then what's going to happen is you're going to divert away from this light. So you want to leave these empty so that the rest still will go and run in, so that the... See, there we go. You still want this here so that it will feed in there and properly fire before the rest. And then the inherent delays introduced by these observers is just going to make everything else work fine. Make sure you have your redstone somewhere where you can make sure that these all get powered by these blocks, the same one on the other side. And then the big thing with timing is you need to have the exact same tick delay on these when they push, those sticky pistons push the discharge of this, as you do for this one that come in. If it's more or less, either your piston walls are going to get broken or your double extenders aren't going to go properly. So since in this case, when I ran it, I had to repeat it twice going over there, 2 of them, at 1 tick, just introduce a 2 tick delay here, everything else will work fine. If you're having trouble running your redstone line, the biggest thing I found it's good to do is just knock that out, drop a lever where your detector rail is going to go, and that is going to simulate it being permanently fired, and you can redstone it up and easily watch where you need to put your repeaters to continue extending the signal strength. This is the farm when it's been fired, at which point it goes off again and everything else resets. And your TNT is going to just work its way out. See? Fire this 3 more times, and then it's going to drop TNT on this whole batch. This farm is way easier to build than the manual farm, definitely than the gas blaster farm. If you have any questions for some of that, go watch the beginning of either one of those 2 videos for getting the initial setup done for your Netherrack regeneration design by Groova Guy. Then this timing system is really simple with the minecarts to trigger everything, and then just pop down once you have all this built up before you run the redstone wiring. Break your detector rail, put a piston there, and then just start working your redstone around. You want to have 2 repeaters at full delay going into this piston so it stays extended long enough for the rest of this to fire off and reset. It's a pretty straightforward build. Let me know if you have any questions. Old Rusty out.